Story's Health Check and the new evidence that could be a major breakthrough for those suffering from depression. The FDA approving the first at-home device for the disorder. Take a look at this. It's called the FL100, created by the company Flow Neuroscience, and it's a wearable head device that sends gentle electrical currents to the part of the brain that regulates mood. It comes at a critical time. According to the CDC, depression rates have increased by 60% in the past decade, impacting more than 16 million Americans each year. For more on this and what it means for the medical world, I'm joined by Dr. Leah Kroll, who specializes in neurology, and she's been a friend of Top Story. Doctor, thanks so much for being here. So I heard about the story. I was sort of mesmerized by this. You have a device, and you come here to tell us that this works?
Tom, this is really cool. So I've brought the device with me. Essentially, it works by something called transcranial direct current stimulation, which is a mouthful that essentially means it sends a very weak electrical current to a part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex. And in doing that, it's speaking the same language that our brain cells speak, and it's nudging the mood circuits in the brain. And it does seem in trial data to have good efficacy.
So walk me through this. Someone has depression. They put this on, they turn it on, they wear it for how long?
So the protocol in the trials we have so far really goes on for 10 to 12 weeks. They wear it a few times each week. The frequency may change as time goes on, and they're generally wearing it for about 30 minutes at a time.
And you feel better right after?
You feel better right after, but the effects build as the study progresses. Now, again, this is a modest effect. It's not a magic switch that suddenly changes your brain chemistry completely, but it's certainly another tool to add to our toolbox here that we have to offer to patients with depression.
When you say toolbox, I mean, is this an alternative to drugs people take? Prescription drugs, Prozac, other things that are out there on the market. People sometimes use other types of drugs that they shouldn't to get over depression. But is this sort of an alternative to that?
So this is a really fascinating question because we know that about 1/3 of people with depression do not achieve complete remission with our typical frontline therapies being talk therapy and antidepressant meds. So a lot of interest in alternative options for them. What we have right now is an early stage device. So the studies here say this is something that can be used in addition to medication and talk therapy. It can be something that can be used on its own, but it's not a replacement. We don't have data yet that says head-to-head this performs better than antidepressant medications.
When people are wearing this, what should they do? Should they be in talk therapy or should they just be hanging out and it's supposed to work?
They need to be monitored. So you can't just use this device on your own. It's prescription only. You need remote clinical supervision while you're using it. So you want a doctor working with you. And that mental health professional will guide whether you also need talk therapy, medications, other interventions as well.
And again, we're doing this story because the FDA just approved this. When this first came out, was this sort of laughed at or was the science always there?
The science has been there for a long time. We've looked at all sorts of different non-invasive ways to stimulate the brain. So this is kind of the latest iteration in a long-running area of research.
And so should this be used for the long term? Because I'm wondering, people, they don't want to be on antidepressants forever. Is this something that's sort of safer than an antidepressant? I mean, would this go, I don't know what this is considered because it's sort of electrical therapy, but I mean, what is it natural? I don't know.
It's a non-invasive device.
Okay.
It's drug-free. We do not have long-term studies yet, so we can't talk about long-term safety. What we know so far from the data is that the side effects are relatively mild and temporary, some skin irritation, tingling, mild headaches that tend to go away. Some patients got burns on the scalp if they use the device incorrectly. Again, you do need medical supervision with this.
And then 30 minutes, you said, you use it a couple days a week kind of thing?
Yep.
And people said it worked for them and they felt a little bit better?
Yeah, so in the main trial that the FDA used as their basis to pass this device, they basically said, okay, 45% of people in the device group achieved complete remission of their depression compared to 22% in the placebo group. So a solid treatment effect there.
And again, Flow Neuroscience sent us this model here so we could see it. Can someone become addicted to this? Is it habitually addictive or is it not really in that sort of vein?
I wouldn't be concerned about getting addicted to something like this. Again, we can't say for sure because we don't have that long-term data. What is interesting, though, is that this might be useful to treat addiction and other neurologic problems and psychiatric problems moving forward. The research sort of is pending.
How much does this cost? Will insurance cover this?
What I'm hearing is $500 to $800, and that insurance is a to-be-determined area here.
It's so new.
Yeah, it's so new. Negotiations are ongoing.
And then so when someone comes to you and they're going to ask you about this, your patients are going to ask you about this, you don't work for this company, right? I just want to make that clear.
Absolutely not.
But if someone asks you about this, this is something that you may prescribe in the future?
Yeah, look, I think it makes sense for patients who either don't want another medication for depression or who are on medications and they're suffering with a lot of side effects. This could be a good option. That's why I say it's another tool in the toolkit.
Yeah. And is there anything else like this on the market, or is this kind of the first of its kind?
This is the first FDA-approved at-home device to treat depression.
And then you said there are some concerns, though. If people wear it too long, they possibly could get burns if you don't wear it correctly.
If you're not wearing it correctly, if you're not using these pads correctly. So again, it's not the kind of thing that you can just buy at your pharmacy and take home and use as you will. You need clinical supervision with this.
Yeah. And how would someone, how does this discovery sort of be made? I mean, people study the brain. They see if electrical waves going through this one part of the brain at this inch, you could start feeling better?
Yeah, so we do a lot of studies on the brain. The brain is an electric organ. We love looking at the waves of the brain. We have come to understand that the area of the brain called the prefrontal cortex is implicated in a lot of mental health disorders, including depression. And so that's why the research has chosen to stimulate that area in the hopes of treating depression.
And this is, the FDA approves this now. Pharmacies will get this soon. They will start to get this at some point?
What I'm hearing is that the U.S. rollout will be in the second quarter of 2026. So relatively soon here.
Okay. And you think people will be seeing this on the market and maybe using it? You think it'll be popular?
I think it will be popular. I think like these antidepressants have a lot of side effects and people don't want to be on medication. So it's certainly an option people could be interested in again. But, you know, you have to talk to your doctor to make sure you're the right candidate.
Yeah, make sure it's safe for you. All right, doctor, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we will be right back.